Welcome back to chat room, guys. Sorry we've been taking a little break, with Christmas and everything, and I have a baby on the way, so we're still here. We're still rocking. We're still going to continue the show. Make sure you like and subscribe. Today we got another reaction to Dave Ramsey. This video is called "Should We Talk About Money When Dating?" And I'm with my co-host Michael.
Yep.
So let's get to it.
All right.
Alexandra is with us in Oakland, California. Hi, Alexandra. How are you?
Good. How are you, Dave and Christina? Hi.
Hi.
Better than we deserve. Merry Christmas. How can we help?
Hi. So basically, I just wanted to know what you think is the best time when dating, is to ask about finances, like financial goals, debts, income, and things like that.
Are you currently
All right,
dating
stop the
someone right
video.
now?
Yeah.
What do you think about that question? What if you before Dave Ramsey or his co-host gives their
Sure.
opinion?
Yeah. Well, already I'm definitely glad they're talking about as a dating thing. You don't want too many surprises, like put a ring on it and get married, and then that's the moment that everything goes crazy.
Yeah.
So, because I feel like there's a lot of people, especially as expensive as weddings get, relationships get. You have a lot of surprises. You don't want a lot of surprises. You've already got enough kind of on your plate to deal with. So,
right. Yeah. Well, so I'll give my little opinion. I think money is very important when it comes down to a relationship, but if I had to be honest, I would say there's a sweet spot. I don't think it's a first kind of date subject, but I also don't think it's wait till you guys have been dating for 4 years or 3 years to be like, okay, what kind of wedding do you plan on? How many kids do you want to have? Because all that comes down with money, how much debt do you have? You know what I mean? There's a sweet spot because I really do feel like you should form a relationship first before talking about money. You know what I mean? Because if someone's to say, hey, I have $100,000 worth of student loan debt, and this is why, and blah, blah, blah. If you say that on the first date, you're not even going to give that person the time of the day because you're going to be like, that's just a headache. You know what I mean? It's a red flag. I haven't even got time to actually like you.
yeah.
And you're already sending me down the other way. But I feel like if you've been dating somebody for a year and you're like, I'm in love with this person, I want to move on, blah, blah, blah. And then they're explaining why they have $100,000 worth of debt. It's I feel like something in your mind triggers to be like, okay, that's understandable. How can I help to once we get married to get rid of this and all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. It kind of makes you just want to try to help that person and you feel like you understand where they're coming from. But if someone says it on the first date, you're just like, oh, red flag. Nope. You know what I mean? So
yeah, well, and you better follow that with but my career is I'm a doctor or I'm a lawyer, so don't worry.
Yeah, for real. All right, let's see.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. I like this question. So it's for future person that you meet.
Yeah, and just when you're on a dating, when you're meeting new people and stuff like that.
That's a great question, Dave. I'm curious about your take because
I haven't dated in 50 years. I don't have any idea.
Well, and what's funny is
I've
I feel
only had one date for 50 years.
What's funny too, though, is we've had so many people come through recently on the debt-free stage that said that they talked about you on their first date.
Yeah, that has come up.
I don't know that that's your recommendation.
No,
though.
It's not. I can't really say Ramsey is romance. It just doesn't scream romance. So, maybe for grown-ups, I don't know. But oh my gosh, I don't. So I'm trying to think how I would coach one of my kids or something. Because what you're looking for when you're dating is, I mean, you're either just out there goofing off or you're actually looking for someone to marry, right? And so, if you have financial things or anything in your life, values-wise, you should have a lot of things that are deal breakers. Maybe it's not romantic, maybe it's efficiency, but I'd want to get to the deal breakers fairly quick just to not waste time. I don't know. I'm making this up on the spot. What do you think, Christina?
Yes.
So
Yeah, I'm curious, John, like for your experience, obviously, as
Mhm.
you kind of preface in the opening, you've got some big life changes coming ahead of you.
Yeah.
So, was there a certain amount in where this was something you discussed? And, just to share, you were both students when you met, your partner, and so you're conceivably at similar points in life. It is a little different than if you were maybe like in your 30s and meeting somebody where you have no idea where they're at.
Yeah.
But was there like a point where you were like, oh, this is getting serious. We need to have this discussion, or was that ever a thing for you?
For me, I never really had that kind of conversation. I've only really been in like one, I guess, serious relationship. Really just one relationship in general. But I was broke. Emily was broke. We both were pretty much like freshman, sophomore, kind of like college students. So I think as far as money, the only conversation we had was like similarities that we wanted to have in life. You know what I mean? Like
Sure.
we wanted a nice home in the future. So that I feel like, is money. Like, and I feel like if I want a home in Los Angeles, California with a pool in the back, like that's a lot different than, hey, I want a suburb home in Tennessee. Like, there's big money difference. And I want 8 kids versus 1. Like that's a big money difference, even though it's not really looked at as money at the moment, but it's like if we're different, then that's going to be a money issue going down the road.
Yeah.
So our similarities of what we wanted in life were very similar. So there wasn't really a lot of financial stuff to talk about. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I have never been put in that spot to where I'm like, oh, I got $20,000 in the bank, and I'm debt free. And what are you? Oh, well, I'm the opposite. I've never really been in those shoes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say though that it would scare me, but that's why I'm like a big believer in learn the person first, the values of a relationship that they have to offer. And I feel like depending on how much you care about that person and how they, walk around and how they kind of their attitude towards everything is like really the big factor, whether they have a lot of debt or want to spend a lot of money. Like there's different ways of being that person. Like, I mean, you can
Sure.
have you know what I mean? So if you've got a good hearted person and they're wanting to, be debt free and they're wanting to do all the things that you personally want to do, but they messed up in their 20s and now we're 35. I feel like, that doesn't scare a person like me from being like, okay, like we can do this. Let's get out of it. Like what's debt,
Yeah.
But if they want to
Yeah.
continue down that debt path, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
different.
No, that makes sense because, yeah, I mean, it's like, definitely you're talking about maybe that last part, kind of recognizing habit. So if it's like a habit that this person has,
Yeah.
it may be something you want to work together on. But yeah, a lot of like dating or, especially more serious relationships is, yeah,
Hmm.
like we're going to get in the muck together. We're going to be in some, roller coaster situations with life. But is this somebody that I want to be with when the
Hmm.
going gets tough? And
Yeah.
if, I agree with you. I think it's as much about like the attitude and the perspective and the goals of life. That's
Hmm.
why, like some of the surface level stuff I feel people have start off relationship is like, oh, this person likes this music I like, this person likes this. I'm like, sure, that's, you may think that's important like to start, but you're kind of trying
Yeah.
to figure out like what do they want in life? 'Cause it
Hmm.
doesn't matter if they like your same band, like that
Hmm.
doesn't matter for the one concert a year maybe you see. But,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to do so much more with this person, and,
Hmm.
yeah, just knowing, like, how they deal with tough situations. That's essential.
Yeah. And then like also when you think about it, like, if you're in your 30s, you got, easily another 30 years of a relationship left. So I would rather be broke with the person I love in a 1-bedroom apartment than to be with somebody that I don't like, but they're Dave Ramsey addicts and they love being debt free and they make great money and they invest 15% and they do all this. But every time you come home, it's just like, I don't like this person.
Yeah.
But our financial statements are great. Like, you know what I mean? So I would rather be like awful in the financial perspective, helping that person, climb out of this huge debt ball or whatever the financial difference is, but you like that person and they like I said earlier, they wear a good attitude, all that stuff, than to be with somebody that's like all about being great finances but a shitty person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. I'm curious if they'll elaborate on that more. Too,
yeah.
so we'll see.
When my husband and I were dating, we went to this church service together at one point where the pastor gave us a challenge and he said, if you're single or if you're dating right now, if you start dating someone, I want you to go home tonight and sit down with that person and lay everything on the table. Like lay out all your drama, lay out any type of baggage you have, anything hidden, your financial stuff. This was like 3 weeks into dating for us because they were like, if, like you said, if that's something you can't handle, it's like, the baggage early on. Like, early on whether or not that person has a history, whether they have like things that are deal breakers for you. So we literally went home that night. We went over, actually, I think we did like a coffee house or something, and we sat down and we said, okay, here's the stuff. Here's my stuff. Here's my junk. Can you handle it? And obviously nearly 15 years later, here we are. We're still good. But I think that's an important practice to kind of go, I don't want to find out a year into dating when I'm already in love that they have something that I can't tolerate.
Okay, here's an interesting idea. I'm making this up on the spot. I do this a lot on this show. Y'all don't know that, but okay, the 4 things we do know data. The 4 things that if you're in agreement on these 4 things, you have a very high likelihood of your marriage not only lasting but prospering. Money, religion, kids, whether to have them and how to treat them, and dealing with the in-laws, the extended family, because in every family there's crazy, and if you think there's not, it's you. So that you need to know how to deal with crazy, because crazy's out there somewhere. And so if you can deal with the 4 things: extended family, kids, religion, and money, if you're in agreement on those, you will prosper. So I would want to at some point discuss all of those things sooner rather than later. But first date might be weird, but I mean, like, he's going to pay for your dinner with a credit card and you go into freak out mode or something.
It's over.
It's over. You're an idiot. What are you, crazy? Yeah, that's it.
So I think there's so many ways you can say it, but like, I'm pretty much agreeing with him. Like, first date, I feel like, it's not about money. It's not about anything. It's about like you and that person. Like, you should just find the attraction to one another before you even really want to like ask those kind of questions. You know what I mean? I think you just have to sweet spot it. And I'm going to say this, like, everybody's relationship with another person is different from the other relationship. I feel like, some people might, like she said, they did 3 weeks. I think some people might not communicate with each other as fast as maybe they did and maybe need to wait like 6 months. Some people, I definitely don't agree going like the whole year, but I feel like it really just depends on your relationship and how much you guys are communicating. But I don't think it's like the most important thing when first starting to date. I just also agree that you shouldn't go too long before you start talking about it. So I feel like it really depends on y'all's relationship, and like you have to sweet spot it to kind of like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and yeah, I mean, both to her point, but also yours, like not waiting too long. I mean, yeah, if you're somebody and you're in a relationship and it's like second date and you both are just like, all right, like we are so crazy for each other, but like in a way that it like seems like this is gonna have longevity, then yeah,
Yeah.
maybe you need to bump up that conversation.
Yeah,
Because
for
yeah,
real.
once you do fall in love with somebody, that's tough if you're starting to get like these speed
That's the
bumps.
breaking point.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I mean, and all of that is so subjective.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think essentially, yeah,
It
you
just
gotta judge it for
depends.
yourself.
Yeah.
But also, yeah, I mean, if you're, because like a lot of people think of stuff like, the whole like, oh, now I have a toothbrush or I have a drawer in their place.
Yeah.
And, they have these kind of like sitcom like benchmarks, or I'm moving in. Well,
Yeah.
you're going to learn a lot about, no matter how much you've dated, how much you've talked, you're going to learn a lot about somebody when they move in with you. But, there are still kind of things that you can learn along the way. And it doesn't even have to be like the major sit down like they're talking about, but
Mhm.
just, yes, maybe a small preview conversation. I don't know. There's just ways to do it. And there's probably, yeah, no right, no right way.
Yeah. I don't think there's any book on how to do this correctly or how to do it right. I just think, some people take a long time to open up. You know what I mean? So, I mean,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I'm personally not a person that takes a long time to open up, but some people really
Nope.
do. So, nah. But I don't know. Yeah, I just really don't think there's a right answer for this. I wish everyone the best of luck, but don't wait too long and don't come off the jump with it. That's my best
Yeah.
advice.
Yeah. Yep. No. Totally agree.
It's over. We're done. Wait a minute. We didn't even start. Okay. But yeah. So I don't know. What are you thinking, Alexandra?
I mean, I know that a first date, of course, I'm not going to be like, well, how much debt are you in? But I'm always just like, okay, well, as a second and third, like you said, with time, I'm like, well, I don't want to waste each other's time. Like, I want us to be on the same page with like financial goals, like what we want in the future and things like that. So, I'm thinking like, what Christina said with, like a week, 2 weeks, putting it all on the table. Like, hey, it seems like we really like each other. Like, let's really like
Yeah. What are the
what do
deal
we
breakers?
have?
I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
what are my non-negotiables? Okay. And I'd want to know those. Like if you never want to have kids and this person wants to have 17 kids, that's probably a deal breaker, for most people, right? And if you absolutely cannot stand the idea of being in debt and they think that you should go borrow $10 million and buy investment real estate off of TikTok suggestions, then, you probably don't have a fit, right? And so if you're on extremes, in other words, that's going to wake you up. Your spiritual walk would be a big one. That'd be a big one as a deal breaker, because that's going to inform almost every other area of your life. And so, if they are of a different religion or no religion, they're atheist or whatever, that's going to inform that belief system. And it is a belief system either way, is going to inform parenting. It's going to inform communication. It's going to inform everything, how you treat each other, the whole bit. And so, yeah, that's very interesting. But yeah, it does feel like that. You're not just dating. You're not if you're not doing recreational dating. Okay, if you're dating for the purpose of what you would have called in the 1950s courting, right, or something like that, for the purpose of looking for a mate to marry, then you're going to get there sooner than later on all.
Hey, so this made me think about, and I may be asking this, and you may have no experience with this, John, but maybe you have enough friends that do.
Yeah.
So kind of him referencing TikTok made me think about like social media and dating apps and the like.
Mhm.
I've never used any of them. Do you know if this is the kind of stuff? I obviously like religion and stuff, but do you know if there's like more finance elements to that are in these dating apps now? Because I'm sure.
Like in the conversation or the actual app?
Like what I assume you fill out like a form. You're like, here's my interest, here's my bio. You're probably not putting it in your bio. I mean, if you're like
Yeah.
doctor, a lawyer, whatever. Good job. You're putting
Mhm.
that in your bio. But
Yeah.
like, is there like an income, category? Because
No, I don't really think it's based on income. I think it's more of like a lot of those dating apps have like photos. So, that's kind of a whole thing that, people make fun of, like don't get catfish. Like, I could go take a picture in front of a Lamborghini in downtown Atlanta, and in my bio I say I'm like a real estate investor, and
yeah,
you've
yeah,
got
yeah,
your nicest clothes on for each photo, and you make it your life look like extraordinary. Maybe rent a condo, on Miami Beach, and a yacht, and rent it, and make yourself
yeah.
look this whole part. But I think it's more based on like your image and like what you do in your bio. So like I think they don't want to give you too much. I feel like just because if you don't like somebody that obviously, likes to show off their Lamborghini and is a real estate investor, you need to stay away from that person, whether he's real or not. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I feel like it's based on photos and like the image that person is giving off. And then, that little description in their bio, like maybe a college student, or I'm a doctor, or a real estate investor, or an engineer. And,
Okay.
engineers make good money, but, if you're kind of a weird six-pack kind of Lamborghini flexing, this is what I do when I'm not an engineer, some people automatically are like, nope. You know what I mean? And then you got
Yeah.
old country boy that's an engineer that, obviously likes his truck and lives on property. I don't know. Like there's different
Yeah.
images, but no, I don't think it's anything to do with like income.
Okay. Because so thinking about this too, like he mentioned, courting, kind of
Yeah.
referencing that, but a lot of relationships, I mean, there's still going to be ones like for you, instance, you were in a university.
Hmm.
You have some expectations because of the kind of school you went to. You're like, they might be like in this bracket, they might be this kind of person, but you don't know. There's a lot of people, so that's
Yeah.
kind of more up in the air, like these
Hmm.
dating apps. But for a lot of people, if they met at church or if it's somebody they've known through a friend for a long time, some
Hmm.
of this stuff you'll still have conversations about, but you're probably a little more aware
Hmm.
because, like, they're your sister's friend or your, aunt's, like nephew's best friend, whatever. You're in those social circles. So I
Hmm.
wonder if these are the kind of conversations and why this is a good question for the Ramsey Show and why we're highlighting it. If
Yeah.
this is the kind of conversation more and more people are having to have at all,
Hmm.
because they would be coming in blind, whether it's a true blind date or, yeah, somebody they meet on an app and
Hmm.
they really don't know when they are trying to figure stuff out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's one of the things I don't like about dating apps, like I feel like the generation, like at least my generation, we've moved so much into like an image. Like, oh, he has blonde hair. Oh, like he doesn't have a nice car. Oh, he has this. Like, there's so much more to a human. You know what I mean? Other than the car they drive, the job that they have or may not. The It's just a picture. And sometimes that's not even the person behind these accounts. So that's my big issue with the whole online dating app things. Like, like there's so much judging instead of communication.
Hmm.
Because that's pretty much what they're designed for you to judge someone for like 5 seconds and decide if you want to go through with it or not go through with it. And it's like off some pictures that may not or may be that person behind that account. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was gonna say I mean, you're right. It's quick view of pictures,
Hmm.
bios, which probably aren't even the best written bios. Uh,
Yeah.
I feel like guys notoriously, just sup. It's like, you need to give a little more.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that is definitely a big part of the reason why I've never, been attracted to using dating apps. And I've had
Y-
friends that have had varying levels of success. It's always
It's out
hard
there.
because, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's it's doing something, and that's definitely something I tell a lot of my friends who are
Hmm.
unhappy being single. I'm like, well, you may not love the idea of it. You may want the idea of just meeting somebody. But if you're not going to, community events, you're not putting yourself physically, you gotta meet people. You gotta physically be outside of your house.
Yeah.
Be at places. It doesn't have to be a bar. We don't have clubs where we live, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just actually have to network. And it's like, at least with a dating app, even though I, again, probably will never use one.
Yeah.
You are doing something.
Right.
So,
Right. And if
but
anybody's listening to this right now, if you're planning on getting on a dating app, that's fine and everything. Not saying
Yeah.
to do
Oh, yeah.
or don't, but meet a person in public place. I cannot stress enough. Online can be very evil. Meet them in the most public place for the first couple of times you possibly can. Do not meet somebody downtown at 9 o'clock at night in an alleyway or somewhere in some parking lot. Meet those people like, on a Sunday at the Chattanooga market where everyone, is like, don't meet people in a private location. I cannot stress that enough. Just catfish. Yeah, that sucks. Not liking the person. Yeah, that sucks. But as far as safety, meet somebody, even if you're some strong man or some strong independent woman listening, I understand, but still, you never can be too safe. So please, everybody.
Yeah.
I had to put that message out just in case people are getting ideas to get on these online dating apps because bad stuff does happen. So
no, that's true. And yeah. Well, let's see what else they got, and they got any more.
All the non-negotiables, and money would just be one of them.
Well, and I think it's better to get there sooner rather than later. Of course, not awkwardly on the first date,
Yeah.
but sooner rather than later, so you're not wasting time. Because it's like if you get to 8 months and it's a non-negotiable, that sucks. The 17 kids, you don't realize that till you're
But
dating
some
them
of these
for a
people are
year.
putting like FPU graduate on their dating website, the thing like,
Oh,
or like I do the Ramsey stuff or something like that. And
like that.
so it's like, ooh, I can't stand those people. They're all a cult. And so I'm not going out with that person, right? That makes sense. I mean, that's at least it's a filter.
Yeah, I was gonna say it filters it,
You know, and
early.
So I mean, we get negative press sometimes, and so but we kind of like it because it's a filter. Because at least people know who we are. And you go, I don't like that. Okay, then you wouldn't want to be over here. It's kind of a deal breaker. The same kind of a date, different things. So, yeah, that's very interesting though.
Maybe we should have a Ramsey dating service.
We
someday.
have had lots of people request a Ramsey dating service. So many so that we actually considered it and said no.
Whoa.
Yeah, it comes up all the time. That's just weird. But yeah, but it does come up. It comes up a lot. So there we go. And oh my goodness. Wow. Yeah, that's yeah.
It's interesting. I feel like it is kind of nice to have those filters because it is such a different world of dating, even 15 years for me and my husband and you and Sharon. It's like with the internet and so many filters and being able to choose things, it's like being able to just like have that information up front would be nice for it to be like, hey, I'm debt free, or hey, I see this like not that debt is a filter.
I've got
Like it's just
$400,000 in student loan debt. It's kind of like saying, I've got 2 children. You would want to know that.
I want to know.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Quick.
Yeah.
And then you get to decide if you want to go forward with 2 children or 400,000. Either one. I mean, that's part of the process.
Yep. Yeah,
No,
that's
a funny statement. I do feel like you can go on and on about this whole like dating thing, but every situation is so different. I don't even know how to really explain it anymore better. It's just so out there.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and I think even what they touched on at the end is kind of what we'd been saying too, where even if some of the stuff in new technology wasn't for us, it does speed up stuff. Can't disagree there.
Yeah.
So,
No, I mean, there's benefits and disadvantages to online dating apps. I'll agree with that for sure.
Yeah.
Not a big fan of them. I don't plan on ever using one. So, but
yeah,
Well,
if if this has been a conversation you have had, and something that's come up, for better, for worse, let us know. And we'll be coming out with more episodes soon. So subscribe, like, comment, and we appreciate you being here.
Yep.